Well, welcome everybody to Nicole Sauce's Thought of the Walk. I'm not walking right now. I'm in my studio, and that's because the weather outside is frightful. It's pretty bad out there, and I didn't want to have the background rain sound this time because this is our last Thought of the Walk for 2021. We will be back January 2nd, actually the 3rd. Anyway, we'll be back January 3rd or 4th or whatever that Tuesday is. I guess it's the 4th for our next Thought of the Walk. And I thought I had a lot of thoughts to do today. So it seemed like a good idea to come from the studio. Woohoo! Well, the first thing I want to talk about are pants. Pants are important, and I'm going to show you something for those of you on the video. I finally admitted that I'm smaller and I bought my pants. And I know a lot of you heard me talking about my keto update and losing weight and not being ready to buy the pants. And there were kind of two parts to it. One, I think I'm going to go down another size soon, but my pants are huge. My belt's not holding them up anymore. It's kind of a problem. And I feel a little shabby in them. And I feel like I haven't embraced the size I am now. So I decided, screw it, I'm buying pants. And I bought pants and they arrived. And starting today, I'm wearing my pants. Super excited about that. And here's a lesson from that, right? Life changes. You change. And when you accept the change, you do things like buy the pants. And when you're to that point, you're ready to take that next step. So sometimes accepting buying the pants is important. Sometimes it's important to buy the bigger pants, guys. Yep, if you've gotten bigger and your pants are too tight and you're keeping those tight pants because you think that's going to keep you from getting even bigger, it won't. It'll actually make you feel worse in the pants. And then you're more likely to make a stupid emotional eating decision. So buy the pants. The second thing I wanted to talk today is about owning your time. A lot of you hesitate to reach out to me because I get frantic with overcommitment, and that's why my word was balance this year. And what I learned is that owning your time is super important. For me, what that looks like is sometimes my time is completely booked. I don't have time to take chat inquiries. I don't have time to answer emails because I have a production schedule that I need to focus on, and I'm going to do it. Okay. That is owning my time for me. That's me choosing to focus to get a bunch done and then figure out how to go back and take care of the rest as I can and not be guilty about not being responsive and not feel guilty about or stay up all night answering email. It's me setting boundaries, right? And what I've learned is if you want to own your time, you have to be ready to prioritize and just do it. Because I hear a lot of people saying, I can't quite get X done because I don't have time. And I'm thinking, okay, I talked to somebody yesterday who's another business person who will know who he is, saying, we usually shut down between Christmas and New Year's. I need that time from a business strategy standpoint to be able to think and let go and be ready for 2022. Otherwise, 2022 is going to suck because I won't be ready for it. And right now what's happening is we have all this chaos and last minute orders, and I'm finding it difficult to just shut down, and I need to shut down. Okay, good point. And I said, at some point, you just got to shut down. That is what it is. And that's owning your time, guys. That means that sometimes things don't happen. This is going to happen at Hollow Roast. Next week, I'm shutting down. The podcast has replay episodes and night before Christmas readings coming out, but I'm not recording any new podcasts after the Tuesday show, and Monday is being moved to Tuesday. And the reason I do that is so that when we get into 2022, we're ready to go. I have 5 things I want to think about and work on that require not being interrupted. I have some house things I want to do around the house. I have a very important appointment with a novel and a bath. Yep, some rest to do. I'm completely exhausted by this time in the year. And that time is reset, strategy, all of those things. And I'm going to take that time. And that means anybody dropping into town saying, hey, I've always wanted to see the Holler Homestead and I'm here. Can I come out? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no, even though you may have traveled from New York to see Tennessee because you want to move here and you want to see the Holler Homestead. And the reason I'm going to do that is when people come, when I'm shut down, I have a very hard time not talking to them, spending time with them, feeling like I should feed them something, those sorts of things. And that's time I'm not spending shutting down. So owning your time sometimes means saying those hard no's, even though I don't want to say no to stuff like that. Sometimes I need to say no to stuff like that to make space and to own my time and to make it so that next year we can get rolling. I really like it clarified for me last night on our business roundtable discussion how important my morning schedule is and doing that routine and getting the things that need to be produced as quickly as possible in the morning, unless for some reason it has to be done in the afternoon, how that sets me up for a lot more freedom in the afternoon to think about things, to catch up on house chores, to do other projects I wasn't planning to do that day, and all of these other things. This is how I'm going to finally get my book written, right? I've got the cookbook. I've got a big update to do for the cookbook in 2022. And I've got the My Three Things book, which is totally outlined and ready to write. And that's going to take some time for me to write. It can't be interrupted. It can't be like, and this pig needs help, and this person wants to visit, and all of those things. I love having visitors, by the way. I'm going to be doing more tours of the Holler Homestead and more video from the project we're working on this year. I've got a pretty cool one going on my hillside, which was my type 1 error. But if I want to be successful with all of this, I have to own my time. And you need to own your time too. When you hear yourself saying, I can't get something done because I don't have time, legitimate, by the way, you don't have time. You're not making time. And the minute you hear yourself say that, what you do is you come back and you think, okay, I don't have time. Why don't I have time? What am I doing instead? Is it more important? If it's more important, then I shouldn't be trying to do this thing because this other thing is more important. Like raising your kids is super important, right? And if you don't have time to, I don't know, fly to Mars with Elon Musk at this moment because your kids need you, then you're making a trade-off. And it's probably worth it to have well-balanced children, whatever. So, I mean, like legitimately, you may not have time, but then the guilt you're feeling for not making the time is a thing. But a lot of it is, how can I make time? When can I make time? And what does that look like? Sometimes it looks like all at once, I can get this done on a Saturday. Sometimes that looks like every morning from 6 to 6:30, I can learn about X if it's a learning project. And then every morning from 6:30, you learn about X. You teach everybody around you in your household not to bug you for that half hour. And it might take 6 months to get that started. And then you're starting and then you're doing. So it's not always a quick fix, but at the same time, sometimes you just say, I'm taking the whole week and I'm not doing anything but this thing that I need to do. So that's basically how I'm getting my taxes done. And anything else that comes up besides basic maintenance, sawed off. Opportunities, sawed off. Visits, sawed off. All of it, sawed off. Unless I'm taking my dog to the vet because they're hurt, or, you know, like you got to take care of your basic things like feeding your animals and your family or whatever it is that you have. I understand that. Everything else extraneous can go away. Choir rehearsals go away. If you really need to get something done, that's how you own your time. And that's something I'm thinking about as we go into Christmas, where we can own our time, right? How do we own our time over Christmas? The third thing I wanted to talk to you about was opportunity and balance. It has been very, 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 very hard for me to maintain balance in the wake of the catastrophic tornadoes that hit Tennessee last week. And here's why. I'm really good at disaster dispatch. Really, really good. I manage little details. I remember people. I remember who needs what. I can track it. I can write it down. I can find the things. I can connect the things with the people. I can connect people with people. Really good at it. And we need that. We need that here. They need it in Kentucky. Like, it's a needed thing, right? And guess what? Guess what? I don't have time in my priority to drop everything and do dispatch. And it's not something that can really be done from 6 to 6:30 every morning. Okay. So with that, I end up in a situation where there's an opportunity where I can help. Hey, Mom, can you close my door? And not having the time to do it. Right. And with that makes me feel a little guilty because I usually could handle this very efficiently. But balance needs to happen. And if balance doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be able to perform for the long term. And so what I've chosen to do is push off when I can help and change how I can help, right? So, hey, but before I finish this, I'm going to walk away from my desk and close my door because for some reason the door got open. So I'll be right back. Okay. I just can't concentrate when I'm hearing background noise. It is what it is. I'm going to leave that in the video. I'm going to leave that in the audio. It is what it is. So opportunity and balance. However, I have a Christmas reception tomorrow. Are we ready for that? No. Will we be ready for it? Sure. I'm not worried about that. We've got 20 or so people coming here. They're all kind people. They listen to the podcast. They're friends. They care about people. I'm planning to go to the tornado land next week. Probably on Monday because I'm driving my mom to the airport Monday and then I can just keep going, deliver the stuff, come back. So I'm delivering a lot of stuff from here. And I've asked people coming to the party to bring, if they want to bring something, bring gift for kids for the toy drive. And I talked to the CAC team and I said, what's your budget right now for providing aid? And can we do toiletry item kits? Because toiletry item kits, you put like a toothbrush, toothpaste, deodorant, soap, washcloth, whatever else. I don't know what else will be on the list, but basically into a Ziploc baggie, one Ziploc baggie, all of those things, and you deliver them. And if you can deliver them that way to the aid givers, they don't have to take boxes of deodorants and boxes of travel size toothpaste and all of those things and put them in the baggies themselves. They can just hand out the baggies. I got 20 people or more coming. Heck, we can have a table with some stuff and some Ziploc baggies and say, this is what it needs to look like. You know, in between hanging out and eating good food and having a good time, make some toiletry item kits. And we'll throw them in this, you know, this wow, the internet just did a thing. I had to wait a couple of weeks to get that done, but now it's done, right? So that's what I'm talking about, opportunity and balance. Sometimes the opportunity is there to help. I could have dropped everything, not put my podcast out, not sent coffee, and done dispatch, which I'm really good at. And I would have helped a lot of people from the tornado. And I might go out of business next year if I did that. Because if I do that once, I'll do that more than once. But if I'm trying to have opportunity linked with balance, I helped raise money for CAC team during this week. I was able to connect people when I could on the side. And we're able to add, Tactical's out delivering tarps right now. And hey, we'll be doing the toiletry item kits and gifts this week. And then I'll see what they really need out that way because it's changing every single day. And I did it with balance so that I'm still stable at the end of this so that the next time something like this happens, because we've had a catastrophic flood and a catastrophic tornado, who knows what next year will bring, right? I can do it again and again and again. Fourth thing I want to talk to you about is dynamic vision. And my mom brought this up last night. We were sitting in the living room. Ken Ash came out and I had drawn this picture of a wall and drawn little red cubes. Like, this is the shelf I want. I sent it to just everybody at LFTN because I was going to build it myself, which was going to take me weeks because I would have probably had to build it 3 times. He's like, well, I can build that for you. And I got time at this time. And I was like, yeah, come on out. Cause that guy can build some nice stuff and he cares about quality. So he gave me a materials list and I got the boards, and in between coffee orders, about once a day, I would stain, let it dry, stain other boards. So they were pre-stained. So I just have to do touch-up staining. He came out and put it in, and we're sitting there. Mom goes, you think about vision and it starts one way and ends up somewhere else. It's more of a journey than a destination. I was like, yeah, we talked about that. She said, think about this living room. When you moved in, we would sit in here and all we could think about was how dark it was because it was dark wood paneling, like 70s paneling. You know what I'm talking about? Ugly, dark wood paneling. And my house doesn't have very many windows, so dark, cave-like house built into the ground. So one day I got paint, and Mom and I spent 8 hours because you got to paint every little seam in the wood paneling with the paintbrush. You can't just roll it. You can do that, and then you can roll it. And we had to do 2 coats. Primer, paint. That's what happened. So it took us 8 hours. And I was so happy after that happened. The room was so much brighter without the dark wood paneling. Loved it. I thought that's all I'd ever need to do. And since that time, I've changed furniture. I've replaced light fixtures. I have taken a wall out between my kitchen and my living room. And yesterday, we got the QV shelves. And all of it is part of dynamic vision. I want my home to be a home. I want it to empower me. I want it to be comfortable when people come in, and I don't want it to be a cluster mess. So that's my vision for the living room, right? And there are things I do in the living room I like to do. Like sometimes I watch a show on TV. Sometimes I want to play music. Sometimes I just want to read and research. Right now I'm working on integrating a bill paying desk into that room so that I can pay my bills and do my paperwork in one space and record creatively in another space, and they're separate without taking up a lot of space because I got 1,200 square feet. So I got to think about this as, within the confines of the walls and the shelves and all of those things. So the vision never really changed from the big picture, but it's a dynamic vision over time. And over my break, I'm planning to deal with an exposed wood floor situation, so we're at the point where I'm dialing in some aesthetics finally, rather than dealing with underlying functional structural problems. So think about your life vision, right? You're going towards your life vision. You've moved to maybe you're a homesteader. You've moved to a homestead. You got chickens and you're 2 years in. It turns out you hate chickens. Did your vision change, or did you learn something and now you're going to apply that same vision to something else because now you realize you love sheep and you're just going to raise sheep and not chickens? And instead of chickens, you have ducks. It's dynamic. If it stops being dynamic, you stop growing, you stop learning, and that's bad. So when you're thinking about vision and you feel like you have a big, hairy shift, look at it a little bit differently. Look at it closely and decide, is it a big shift? Is it really? Is it really a big shift? Or did you just learn something and now you're dialing in your vision a little bit better and a little bit better? It's iterative. 5th thing I want to talk about, just ask. The answer is always no if you never ask. This works in fundraising. This works in sales. This works in finding information from people. This works when you need help. You're like, man, I'm in this situation. I could really use somebody to help me by helping me pick up the other side of this freezer. So 2 of us are moving instead of 1 because it's heavy. But I don't want to bug anybody, so I'm not going to ask. Instead, what I'm going to do is talk about how heavy this freezer is. In fact, I'll talk about it over dinner. I'll talk about it in text message. I'll talk about it online. I'm going to make a video about how heavy this freezer is. Hopefully somebody will come help me. Did you ask for help? Did you ask for help? Did you ask for help? I know it's hard to ask for help, but sometimes people are waiting for you to ask for help. And I know, like, it's great when we offer help to people. Like, I just had a friend whose husband was incapacitated, lucky to be alive, head-on collision on a motorcycle. And I know after a situation like that, you're in shock. You don't even know what you need. So I said, "Would you like us to cook you some food?" And she was like, "Actually, that'd be good." She didn't know she needed that or that it would be helpful because there's a lot going on, right? That's one side. But if you're the kind of person that when you need help always waits for people to offer, think about that. Put on your big boy pants. Ask for help when you really need help. And be ready for this. People are going to say no. No hurts sometimes, I know. But that's better than waiting and passive aggressiving. And I was thinking about that as I was thinking about my sales future next year. I'm going to have to go do some asks. Transparent relationships, number 6. This is hard. This is something, again, back to my word balance that I learned about. It is better when we can just say things to each other. That doesn't mean hurtful, but being clear with your motivation, being clear with what you have to give, being clear with what you're looking for, being clear when something's hurtful to you that somebody might not realize is hurtful. Transparent relationships, very important. And it's a very important part of relationship development. And it takes courage because a lot of why we don't say, every time you say that joke about pigs around me makes me feel fat and I have a complex about my weight. So maybe could we not do that joke towards me? And that'd be awesome, man. The reason we're afraid to give somebody feedback like that in a relationship, because we're afraid. We're afraid that if we give them the hard thing, they're not going to like us anymore. And we're going to lose a friend. They weren't your friend if that's what happens. Again, you don't just punch them in the nose with the feedback. You might lose a friend that way. But, think about what's important and what you need to share about motivations. And I bring this up now because I evaluate relationships now. I'm evaluating who's in my life, if they empower me or don't. And if I need to reduce my interactions with some people or increase them with other people going into 2022. It's actually a big part of how I took control of my world was cutting out the vampires and embracing the doers is what it is. People hear me say that and they think anytime they ask me for help, they're a vampire. That's not the same thing. There's a chronic iterative energy drain is the vampire. Somebody whose husband is in the hospital, incapacitated, and needs help is not a vampire. They just need help. They're a friend that needs help. You help your friends. It is what it is. It's funny. I learn a lot from a good friend of mine who has a lot of things to face in life. And the person will be like, hey, blah, 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 complain. And it's always entertaining. And then gets to the end of it. And, okay, I got that out of my system. Now I'm going to, put my big boy pants on. And this is what I can do to be positive, whether it's about the situation or not. I'm just going to go, I don't know, turn the wood turner on and make doorknobs. And that'll just clear it out. This is what I can do, right? That's a lot different than energy suck. So I'm bringing that up because the way we do this is we list the 20 people we interact with most. You put a minus, plus, or a period next to them. Minus means you feel kind of dejected after they are around you. Plus, energized. Period, no change. Look at those minuses carefully. Figure out if it's a temporary thing, if it's something that can be addressed through transparent communication. It could be that simple. They may not know. Or if there's something else going on that needs to be addressed. And if it needs to be addressed by reducing interaction. Anyway, those are all of my thoughts of the walk. You got 6 thoughts of the walk in one thought of the walk. Last thought of the walk 2021. We'll be back on January 4th, which is a Tuesday. 2022. And on the holiday schedule, because this is going in the audio podcast too, my last podcast will be recorded next week. It would have been Monday, but I'm pretty sure Monday is when I'm driving out with the toiletry item kits to drop them off and back. And that's about a 7-hour drive. Along the way, I'm dropping Mama Sauce off at the airport, which is why I was like, hey, this would be a good day to do that. And that means that I'm not recording a podcast that day, but Tuesday I'll be back. I'll record the podcast. It'll be the last original podcast of 2022. However, in between there, because I have such fond memories of Christmas and reading The Night Before Christmas with my mom and my dad, and Santa Claus came and all these things. I love that poem. And over the years, we've gotten quite a collection. We have the Australian Night Before Christmas. We have the Redneck Night Before Christmas. We have the musical Night Before Christmas. We have a reading of The Night Before Christmas that I did years ago that people play every year for their kids. We have so many. We have a new one coming this year. So starting a certain number of days before the night before Christmas, what you're going to see is that it comes out every day. And if one of those days just happens to be, like next Tuesday when my podcast comes out, that means you're getting 2 podcasts. You're getting the Night Before Christmas one and my one. They're 2 separate ones. Along with that, some of the live streams I've done with John Willis are pretty good. So I have another one I did this week just about with Kurt Duggar and John Willis about the tornado. I'm going to produce that audio only as well. So those will all be coming out. And then Christmas comes. And then the week between Christmas and New Year's, I'm off. I'm closed. I'm closed as of Wednesday next week. No visits. I'm going to do some stuff, and we're going to come back next year. You're going to love what we do next year. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Make it a great week.